Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanaतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। थोड़ा वॉल्यूम बढ़ा दीजिए पहला वाला। हाँ हरे कृष्ण। और ये प्रोजेक्टर का वायर नहीं है, ये उसका कनेक्टिंग वायर है।
ये इसका है चार्जिंग का। नहीं चार्ज है।
बोला ये क्यों दे रहे हैं मेरे को। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita class. Thank you for taking out your precious time and coming to attend this Gita class. We are continuing our discussion from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 2 entitled Contents of Gita Summarized. And I think we are on the last section. Which verse we were on? Anyone remembers? अलग अलग नंबर बोल रहे हैं। 56 तो हो गया था शायद। We were on I think 58. हाँ 58 पे थे हम लोग। Yes, कूर्मो अंगानी वा। Okay, so in this section Krishna is describing how a practicing devotee should control his mind, control his senses, because in the path of spirituality, this is the most important thing. In the beginning of this section, Arjun, he asked 4 questions. Sthitpragyasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadi kim prabhasheta kim asita brajeta kim. How does this person who is fixed in his intelligence upon the Supreme, how he responds to this world's temptations? What are his general characteristics? How does he respond to praises and insult? How does he control his senses? And how he moves around in this world full of temptations? So these are the 4 questions he asks. In response to this, Krishna told that this devotee, he is not entertaining the desires which arise from the mind. He gives up all the desires which come from the mind, material desires. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parth manogatan. So all the desires which come from the mind, he gives up all those desires. And in this way, he is very, very sense controlled. This person, he is not so very happy when pleasures are coming. He is not so sad when the pains are coming. He is completely in samadhi. Prabhupada writes in the previous paragraph, purport. This person is in samadhi. He is unaffected by good or evil. And this devotee, he learns how to avoid external distractions. We'll recite this 58th verse. Yada samharate chayam kurmaungani vasarvashah indriyan indriyarthebhyas tasya pragya pratishtita. Somebody get the translation?
One is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as a tortoise draws his legs in the shell. Is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness.
Yada samharate, samharan means withdraws. So just like a tortoise withdraws all the limbs, kurma, anganiva sarvasha, just like the tortoise withdraws all the limbs when he is faced with danger. Similarly, indriyani indriyarthebhyah, the practicing devotee should withdraw his mind from the sense objects. Withdraw his senses from the sense objects. Indriyon ko indriyartha, the sense objects. So a devotee should be very, very careful not to indulge in the world's temptations. Indriyani indriyarthebhyah. Because it is natural for the mind and the senses to go towards the sense objects. And a devotee is very careful because whatever goes inside, it affects our consciousness. As a practicing devotee, we should be very, very attentive and alert to the things of the world, the stimuli of this world. Anything goes in, affects our consciousness. What are we seeing? What are we hearing? What are we tasting? Everything affects our consciousness. So therefore, a practicing devotee controls his senses. He doesn't explore the world. He doesn't think, देख के आते हैं दुनिया कितनी पतित हो गई है, क्या क्या कर रहे हैं आजकल लोग, देखते हैं, just to be updated with the market, कि लोग क्या क्या करते हैं आजकल. So we should be very, very careful, not be overconfident. वही बेचारे पतित जीवों का उद्धार करने के लिए हमको देखना पड़ेगा कितने पतित हैं वो. पहले वो देखने के चक्कर में प्रभु जी कहाँ गए, प्रभु जी दिख नहीं रहे हैं आजकल. प्रभु जी पतितों का उद्धार करने गए थे. So we have to be really careful how much to get in the world. You must have seen tortoise at the temple entry. कभी कभी रखते हैं ना tortoise, the structure. Why the tortoise is kept? It is to tell us that now please explore, take out all your senses and explore the things in the temple. Take the beautiful darshan of the Lord. Smell the fragrance of the flowers which is offered to the Lord. Taste Mahaprasad of the Lord. That's how we have to explore when we are in the temple. And as we go out of the temple, withdraw all the senses. Don't try to explore the world. Because the mind will say, samsara lagilo bhalo. Sansar acha lag raha hai. So that's how the world is. It is so very tempting. It is so very illusory. Our senses, they are our weak points. We have to protect our weak points. We should not show the world, these are my weak points. Maya Devi knows our weak points more than we know ourselves. She knows very nicely ये कैसे गिरेगा, how this person will fall, what is the greatest temptation for this devotee or this person. She knows us in and out. Prabhupada would give an example of a karate person, who is learning karate and who is doing karate. He knows, he tries to find the weak point of the opponent and he'll repeatedly hit there only. That's how Maya Devi is. She knows what is our weak point. So we should be really careful. We have to guard our weaknesses. We should not expose. देखते हैं हम लोग कितने एडवांस हो गए हैं. मतलब आई जस्ट वांट टू सी कि मैं कितने लेवल तक टॉलरेट टेम्पटेशंस को टॉलरेट कर सकता हूँ. Don't underestimate. Don't overestimate. Don't be overconfident. It's just like if somebody is moving in jungle in safari and he sees a tiger sleeping. So if a thought comes, यार मर गया कि सो रहा है, चलो एक झापड़ मार के आते हैं. नहीं मरा हुआ तो हमको वो बोलेगा फिर महाप्रसादे गोविंदे, वेजिटेरियन फूड मिलेगा उसको. वेजिटेरियन है हम लोग. So we have to be really careful. So Prabhupada in the purport he describes how a yogi or a self-realized soul is that the test of a yogi is that he is able to control his senses according to his plan. When I want to control my senses, I can control them. Most of the times now we are controlled. Any temptation comes, our senses go away. Prabhupada writes, most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by the dictation of the senses, and that's why they are called as servant of senses. Means Go Das. Go means senses. Das, he is a servant. And who is the master of the senses? Goswami. It is not a title which is given to some caste. ये गोस्वामी caste है, वर्णम गोस्वामी वाले नहीं है वो. So Goswami is not a title, it is a characteristic of a person. He is able to control the senses. So this is the journey of a practicing devotee from Godas to Goswami. In the beginning, as we come to a spiritual life, any temptation comes, we fall. Because we have no sufficient strength. As we start coming to programs, start chanting, and some of our old friends come and say, अरे नया मूवी निकला है, बोले चलो देख के आएंगे, उसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है, हम सब बैलेंस में करते हैं. So then the temptations are there and we immediately fall. After some time, by practicing sufficiently, chanting, we develop some strength. Now we develop some strength to resist. No, this is not good for me. So that's how we have to understand this. Many animals, they have one of the senses very active, and that's why they are killed because of that. Just like the fish. How the fish is caught? Anyone has seen or heard? The person puts a fishing rod and puts a bait. And the fish thinks nice food. The tongue of the fish becomes the death of the fish. And as in the beginning, when the fish eats the bait, the person doesn't start winding up immediately. He allows the hook to go deeper. And then the fish thinks, देखो लोग ऐसे ही बोल रहे थे कि यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम. I enjoyed. No problem. वो प्रभु जी ऐसे ही बोलते हैं कि ये वाली मूवीज मत देखो. देखो कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा. Even if nothing happens, something happens. So we should not be overconfident कि कुछ नहीं होता है. कुछ नहीं, बहुत कुछ हो जाता है. बचपन में एक ऐड आता था. वो person he is trying to cross the railway signal और वो नीचे से जा रहा है, कोई साइकिल लेके नीचे से जा रहा है ऐसा, और वो बोलता है अरे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता, नहीं, यू शुड स्टॉप एट द सिग्नल, में कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. एंड वन डे ही इज लिटिल अर्ली एंड द ट्रेन कम्स, एंड देन उसके बाद फोटो से बोलता है वो फर्क तो पड़ता है भाई. देखा आप लोगों ने वाइट पुराने जमाने वाला. So that's how if somebody thinks कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, फर्क पड़ता है. Whatever we do, whatever we see, it is permanent impression in the mind. And in the beginning, it may seem that nahi, I am okay, nothing happened. Every impression is registered, and the more we keep on adding these impressions, they become powerful, and one day it all comes down. That is called as tipping point. ऊपर जाते रहे, and one point everything collapses. That is how our mind works. So we may think कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है, but फर्क पड़ता है. Prabhupada writes, the senses are the venomous serpents. They are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without discrimination. The yogi must be strong to control the serpent like a snake charmer. A devotee should learn how to control. Otherwise, the senses, they will kill our devotional propensity. You just indulge and then you're gone. The snake charmer never allows them to act, allows the snakes to act independently. A devotee never allows the senses to act independently. Very careful. So Prabhupada writes, unless one is able to follow the do's and don'ts, and some of them are do's. Unless one is able to follow the do's and don'ts, restricting oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. We have to understand what are the do's, what are the don'ts, what we have to do, what we have to not do. What are the do's of spirituality? Follow the 4 regulative principles, no meat eating. These are the don'ts. Do's means chanting. Chanting 16 rounds or whatever round we are chanting, then reading Bhagavad Gita, associating with devotees. Don'ts means avoid these 4 things. Meat eating, intoxication, gambling, उसमें no लगाना जरूरी है. One time, one devotee, he was getting initiated. So initiation में राधानाथ स्वामी महाराज was giving initiation. And initiation में वो महाराज के सामने आके we have to chant this, tell these 4 regulative principles. Maharaj, I take a vow, I will chant 16 rounds on my beads and follow 4 regulative principles, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. तो ये डिवोटी आता है एंड ही सिट्स, और महाराज के सामने तो बड़े बड़े लोग नर्वस हो जाते हैं. सो ही सिट्स एंड सेज, महाराज, I will chant 16 rounds on your beads. Maharaj said, why will you chant on my beads? Then he says, Maharaj, I take a vow, I will follow 4 regulative principles. No meat, next, he says, follow 4 regulative principles, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. तो बोलता कुछ तो गड़बड़ हो रहा लग रहा है. No Maharaj, no meat eating, no intoxication. तो Maharaj said that no was a very important detail. So we have to follow these principles. So unless one is able to follow the do's and don'ts, restricting oneself from sense gratification will not help. Our mind will naturally go towards all these wrong things. Because Krishna says in 44th verse, we read that, please take out that, 2nd chapter, 44th verse. Krishna speaks very clearly, if somebody indulges in sense gratification, they cannot develop a steady determination to practice bhakti. Will get? It is Bhogaishwarya. We'll recite this. भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां दया परितचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधौ न विधीयते. Bhog Aishwarya Prasakta. If somebody is attached to Bhog and Aishwarya, the opulence of this world and enjoyment of this world, Bhog and Aishwarya Prasakta, Prakrishta Rupena Asakta, means pakka usme laga hua hai wo. So what it does, Taya Apaharit Chetasam, our consciousness is stolen away by these things. And in this condition, Vyavasayatmika buddhi na vidhiyate. One cannot develop fixed intelligence. Vyavasaya buddhi means the businessman's intelligence. A businessman is very alert and very, very careful how to increase his business. He is never careless, always alert, always fixed. So that's how this devotee, if he is indulging in things of this world, ये वाली मूवीज भी देख लेते हैं, थोड़ा ये पार्टीज में भी चले जाते हैं फ्रेंड्स के साथ, तो सबको लगना चाहिए कि हम नॉर्मल हैं. नहीं तो लोगों को लगता है हम एबनॉर्मल हैं. लगना ही चाहिए एबनॉर्मल है. अगर कोई नहीं बोला एबनॉर्मल है मतलब कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. So we have to be really careful. Unless we practice all these rules and regulations, samadho na vidhiyate, we will not be able to practice bhakti steadily. We have to avoid distractions, avoid seeing wrong things, avoid hearing wrong things. We have to be very, very alert. Because any exposure creates an impression. They are like the lines. Sometimes these lines are the lines on the stone. They are never erased. Any impression you put, it is a permanent impression. They may not come up, but they are there always. So we have to be really careful. What are we putting in our mind? Otherwise, it will be very difficult to practice bhakti. Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he says, the best way to do sense control is avoid places which require sense control. If you want to control your senses, don't go to the places where you need to control yourself. If you are passing by one gully and you know ये गली में पाव भाजी का दुकान है, एकदम मस्त, एकदम कांदा लहसुन डाल के वो बनाता है, और पहले हम वो गली में जाते थे, क्या खाते थे वो. So if you think कि चलो देखते हैं कि क्या आज अभी भी है क्या वो, then we are putting ourselves in very dangerous situation. We should not try to test ourselves. Just avoid going through that lane. That's a very gross example. We all can extend this analogy to all the things. If we know that there is a danger in this place, I may get tempted. Avoid that. As we are surfing on Google कि आज कोई लेक्चर सुनते हैं भगवद गीता का, और बीच में एक मूवी का क्लिप आ गया पॉपअप, बोले नया मूवी निकला है क्या? नहीं, लेक्चर सुनना है भगवद गीता का. एक बार छोड़ दिया, सेकेंड मूवी का पॉपअप आया, अच्छा ये भी है, अरे ये तो मेरा फेवरेट एक्टर था पहले, इसका तो देख लेते हैं थोड़ा. बस ट्रेलर देखेंगे, ज्यादा नहीं. You start with the trailer and you end up with the whole movie. So that's how we have to be careful. We have to avoid any temptations. The mind takes the path of least resistance. If you have to endeavor to get something, mind will say छोड़ दो ना, नहीं करेंगे. So try to make your temptations little unapproachable. If you know that this will distract you, please make it unapproachable. And if you want to remember Krishna, please keep it approachable. If a student sits with a book and smartphone in front, एक हाथ में इस book, दूसरे हाथ में smartphone, so what are the chances that the student will study attentively? Chance है? बहुत कम chance है. So we have to be really careful. You have to use your mind's nature of taking the easy path. Keep Krishna consciousness easily available. All of us have smartphones. Try to put some things on the screensaver. Some bhajan, rather than keeping some picture, some bhajan, some shlok, some nice line you read. Keep it that as screensaver. Or keep some photo of some deities. Try to look at them. So keep it approachable. Some devotees, if they want to memorize some verses, they keep a small chit in the pocket. Chalo nikal ke dekhte rahenge. So we have to find what will make Krishna consciousness easily approachable. अगर मेहनत करना पड़ेगा तो मन बोलेगा बाद में कर लेते हैं, अभी तो कहाँ ढूंढेंगे वो लेक्चर, कौन सा लेक्चर था, अभी कहाँ ढूंढेंगे, इसीलिए सामने मूवी आ रही है, मूवी देख लेते हैं. That's how mind tempts us. So we have to be really careful. So Prabhupada writes, the best example herein is the tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment wind up its senses and exhibit them again at any time for particular purposes. So we have to be really attentive. If we are not attentive, then it will be difficult to advance in spiritual life. Either we are chanting or we are reading Gita or hearing some lecture, we should be present. I hope सब लोग अभी यहाँ पे ही हैं, not somewhere else. So because our mind is expert in taking us somewhere else. वो घर में इतना प्रॉब्लम हो गया था और उसने ऐसा बोल दिया आज मेरे को. How can you say like this? मैं भी देख लूँगा उसको. चलता रहता है अलग टेक मन में. So we have to be very careful. If we are not careful, if we are not attentive, then spirituality, devotional service is really difficult to practice. It is not so easy to practice bhakti in this world full of distractions. It is described that if some CEOs of big companies, they keep things in their life very simple. सुबह में क्या पहनना है, they will have very few options. ये 2 ही ऑप्शन है, 10 ऑप्शन नहीं रखेंगे अपने पास. क्या पहनना है, कहाँ जाना है, किधर कौन सी कार लेनी है, all fixed. Because when you keep making decisions day in and day out, you get fatigued. So it is noted that the major mistakes are made in the evening. The wrong decisions are taken in the evening. Because whole day you have done so much decision making. Your decision making capacity is gone. So therefore, always take the path of least resistance. Avoid the places where you have to make choices. ये गली से जाएंगे, so I'll have to make choice. देखना है कि नहीं देखना है. Avoid that. Because we have to focus on Krishna. We have to focus on the names of the Lord. Our willpower is a limited resource. Use it carefully. It is not that we have unlimited willpower. We have a limited resource of willpower. So we have to use it very carefully. Otherwise, it is so very easy to get tempted. Nobody can think, I am strong enough. There was a great sage, his name was Shaubhari Muni. Shaubhari Muni, he was such a powerful sage, he was doing tapasya underwater in Yamuna. Because he thought, bahar baithenge to temptations will come. Somebody will come and they'll distract. So what should I do? I will enter the river Yamuna, and in a sacred river Yamuna, I will sit and do meditation. He had that power. So he went inside and he was doing tapasya for many thousands of years. One day what he saw, which was very common, he saw 2 fishes mating. River mein it is common and we don't even understand what they do. But Shaubhari Muni, he became distracted by that scene. He came out and he thought, I want to marry. I also want to enjoy. He went to the king Mandhata. Mandhata was a very great king in Ikshvaku dynasty. And he said, I want to marry your daughter. And this Chaubari Muni was a very old sadhu with all matted hair, very weak, all old. So this Mandhata said, well, I have no problem if any of my daughter is interested in marrying you. Because he thought कोई भी शादी नहीं करेगी इससे, ये कौन बूढ़े से शादी करेगी. But बोल नहीं सकते ना, because he is a very powerful sage. श्राप दे देंगे. So this Shaubari Muni understood the mind of this Mandhata. He had that mystic power. He transformed himself into a most beautiful, handsome young man. And he said, okay, you can get your daughters if anybody is interested. And as he was taken to the place where these 50 daughters, he had 50 daughters. All of them, when they saw this sadhu, they started fighting. Who will marry him? So to solve the case, all 50 were married to him. And he ended up enjoying with all these 50 princesses for many, many years. After many years of enjoyment, he realized, क्या करने गया था? क्या हो गया? That's how we have to be really careful. Otherwise, our senses can take us to a completely different direction. One time, there was a person. He was learning Bhagavad Gita at his guru's place. So his guru, he told one day that, look, I am going for some pilgrimage and I will come back after 1 year, okay? You please read Bhagavad Gita every day. He said, okay, Guruji, I will read every day, don't worry. So after few days, as he was reading every day, so one night a rat came and he ate some of the papers of Bhagavad Gita. So he said, hey, क्या हो रहा है? Rat आ रहा है. They are disturbing my reading of Bhagavad Gita. So what should I do? What is the solution? Cat लेके आते हैं. I should get a cat. So he got a cat. And the cat ate the rat. But the cat also needed milk. So milk कहाँ से आएगा? So we should get a cow. So he brought a cow also. So every day cow was giving milk so that the cat can be fed, so that the rat can be driven away, so that he can read Bhagavad Gita. समझ गए ना sequence? So now the cow is there. So maintaining cow is taking lots of time. I should get a servant. So then servant came for taking care of the cow, so that milk can be given to the cat, which will drive away the rat, so that he can read Bhagavad Gita. ठीक है ना? याद है ना connection? So after few weeks, that servant was not doing service properly. So he thought, I need somebody trusted. So this person was a sadhu, brahmachari. भगवद गीता पढ़ना है मेरे को अच्छे से, गुरुजी बोल के गए. And I need somebody who can take care of the servant, so that he can take care of the cow, so that milk can come, so that the cat will drive away the rat. फिर मैं भगवद गीता आराम से पढ़ सकता हूँ. So he got the best way is, I should get married. My wife will take care of the servant, who will take care of the cow. आगे का नहीं बताऊंगा अभी. So wife came. Now he thought, अब तो problem solve हो जाएगा. आपका एक problem solve होगा. So the wife said, I want a nice home. बोले मैं तो अभी यहाँ पे आश्रम में रहता हूँ, अभी आश्रम ठीक है, आश्रम की जगह he built a nice home. Then I want a nice dress and ornaments, so he started working also. Then he extended his empire. He had a nice huge bungalow. After 1 year, his Guruji came, thinking that his disciple is studying Bhagavad Gita. So instead of Bhagavad Gita, he sees this entire building. So he says, ये क्या हो गया? बोलते हैं गुरुजी भगवद गीता फैल गई. I wanted to save my Bhagavad Gita from the rat. उसके लिए I brought a cat. उसके लिए I brought a cow. So that's how our senses are. If we are not careful, कहाँ से कहाँ चले जाएंगे? Even one of the senses, if it is not controlled, it can take our entire boat in different direction. भगवद गीता पढ़ने गए थे और क्या हो गया देखिए. So that's the power of distractions. If we are not careful, we'll end up getting distracted. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, he says, the senses of the Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. We should use our senses very, very discreetly. We should not use them unlimitedly. See only whatever is needed. See darshan of the Lord. We don't have to use our eyes to see everything in this world. Everything beautiful comes from Krishna, but not everything beautiful takes you to Krishna. So we have to be really careful. We may get distracted by the things of this world. When we see the things of this world, it distracts us. Just like the fish is killed because of stung. The moth, you must have seen whenever there is fire, so many insects, they come and they enter the fire. What killed them? Their eyes. The eyes wanted to see something very attractive. They were killed. The deers, they like to hear nice flute sound. So if a person wants to catch deer, he plays nice flute and the deer comes searching, kahan se aa raha hai? And he gets caught. Bumblebee, he is attracted by the fragrance of the lotus. He sits on the lotus flower and in the evening time the lotus closes and the bumblebee is inside. Bumblebee is very strong. It can cut the lotus petals very easily. Kya badi baat hai? But the fragrance is so intoxicating, doesn't leave that lotus and dies there. What killed that bumblebee? Nose, his smelling power. Elephant is attached to enjoying with she-elephant. So what they do? They make a huge hole and put a effigy of a she-elephant on the other side. So the elephant comes thinking he'll enjoy and then he falls in the ditch. They cover the ditch with the grass. So that's how all our senses, they are very active. We have to be really careful. What we are seeing, what we are hearing. As Ambrish Maharaj, he used all his senses in serving the Lord. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo vacham Shivaikuntha gunanuvarnane Karo harer mandir marjanadishu Shrutim chakara chuta satkathodaye Mukunda linga laya darshane drishav. So this verse says, Savai manah Krishna padara vindayo. He engaged his mind in meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna. When you go to temple, take darshan of the deities. From where do we start? We start from the lotus feet. And we should meditate on the lotus feet for a long time. Not that the mukh kamal अच्छा है, चरण कमल नहीं देखेंगे. वो जल्दी से दर्शन करेंगे मुख कमल. No, meditate on the lotus feet for a long time. It destroys the contaminations in the heart. Vacham Sivaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. Engage your tongue in glorifying the activities of the Lord. We anyways are so very tempted to speak, right? मतलब बिना बोले तो रहना मतलब पेट दर्द हो जाएगा ऐसा है. आपको बोलना नहीं है, खाली सुनना है. ऐसा वैसे चलेगा. I have to speak something. If you want to speak, speak about Krishna. Chant the names of Krishna. Karau Harer Mandir Marjanadishu. Use your hands in serving the Lord, serving the devotees of the Lord. Karau Harer Mandir Marjanadishu. Shrutim Chakara Chuta Satkathodaya. Use your ears in hearing the glories of Krishna. We have to apply these principles. सुनने में तो अच्छा लगता है. आज अच्छा क्लास था बढ़िया था. But application is more important. If we are not applying, then वो आपको स्टोरी सुनाई है ना, बहेली आएगा. नहीं सुनाइए, सुनाइए. दोबारा सुना देते हैं, कुछ लोग ना बोल रहे हैं. One time there was a leader bird, and he was teaching all the subordinates. We should be very careful from the hunters. You know how the hunters come? They come and they spread net, and then they put a bait in that. So please don't eat that bait. Don't get entangled in the net. हिंदी में बता रहे हैं सबको. बहेलिया आएगा, जाल बिछाएगा, दाना डालेगा, जाल में फंसना नहीं. सब लोग बोलो. And all the birds are chanting unanimously. बहेलिया आएगा, जाल बिछाएगा, जाल में फंसना. बोलते रहो. दिन भर बोल रहे हैं वो. Whole day these birds are memorizing, chanting. One day, the hunter came. बहेलिया आया, उसने जाल बिछाया, दाना डाला. And all these birds singing this song. बहेलिया आएगा, जाल बिछाएगा, दाना डालेगा, जाल में फंसना नहीं. बोलते बोलते चले गए उसमें. So what was the problem? They heard the theory, they never applied it. For them it was just theory only. So we have to apply these principles, otherwise बहेलिया आएगा. ये तो याद हो गया ना. So that time will pass by and will not even understand what we are losing. It is described, if we don't use our ears in hearing the glories of the Lord. You know what are our ears compared to? Anyone knows? Bhagavatam describes this. If the ears are not used to hear the glories of the Lord, they are like the snake holes. They are like the holes where snakes live. Snake is death. If we are not hearing the glories of the Lord, and if we are hearing the things of this world, we are just wasting our time, and the time passes by, and then the time of departure comes. It is like death. If we are not using our tongue in glorifying the Lord, this tongue is like the tongue of a frog. All of us have heard frogs croaking. Mira में सुनाई देते हैं क्या? बारिश में? गाँव में ही सुनाई देते हैं. Cities में तो कम ही सुनाई देते हैं. When the frog is croaking, our elders would say, उधर मत जाओ. क्यों? Snakes will be there for sure. Because when the frog croaks, he thinks, कितना अच्छा गा रहा हूँ मैं. But the sound of that frog attracts the snake. And the snakes come and eat the frog. So when we are using our tongue in speaking about the things of this world, we are wasting our time. And then the death comes, which is like a snake. Bile batoru krama vikramanyena shanvati karna putena rasya jihva satida ardurikeva suta nachopagayatyurugaya gatha. Jihva is like the unchaste tongue of a frog. Asati, unchaste. Chaste wife means she'll not speak about any other person's glories. But our tongue speaks about everything else. मजा आता है. और दूसरों का बुराई करने में तो और भी मजा आता है. अरे मालूम है उसने क्या किया? नहीं मालूम. I will enlighten you. And then we keep on speaking about the faults of others. Try to speak about the glories of others. वो तो बहुत मुश्किल है. Try to find out some good things in others. बोले इसमें क्या अच्छा गुण है? There is no good thing in this person. One time, one devotee, on the birthdays we generally glorify the person whose birthday is there. ऐसा हम लोग generally करते हैं. So in one program, one devotee one time thought that चलो आज एक devotee का birthday है, so I'll glorify him and some of the family members also will glorify. So he called this devotee on the stage and he spoke few words and then he called his wife. He said, today your husband's birthday is there. Can you speak something good about your husband? So she's thinking, अच्छा बोलना है, क्या अच्छा है? Literally she was thinking for 30 seconds, क्या बोलना है इनके बारे में अच्छा? Somehow she gathered some words and spoke something. That's why it is so very difficult to speak about the good qualities of others. We are expert in finding faults in others. It is so very, because faults are easily available. What is a big thing to find fault? If somebody says, I went to the ocean and I brought 1 liter ocean salt water, क्या बड़ा काम किया? It is an ocean of faults. Everybody has faults. ऐसा कोई है जिसमें faults नहीं? Everybody has faults. Try to speak about the good qualities of somebody. That requires great endeavor. Try to glorify others. Try to find good things in others. Good things in devotees. Speaking faults about devotees, faults about others, it is so very natural. Kaler dosha nidhi rajan. It is an ocean of faults. Everybody has faults. So spiritual person means tries to see good in others. So that's how we have to engage our senses. Hear about the glories of the Lord. Chant the glories of the Lord. Take prasad. So that's how we will slowly advance. And then next is a very important verse where Krishna is describing, by the practice of bhakti, by the practice of spirituality, what happens inside us. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Translation, somebody can read?
Those are embodied souls may be restricted from sense environment. The taste for sense objects remains. But seizing some engagement by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness.
Vishaya vinivartante. If somebody refrains from sense objects, doesn't indulge, it is like nirahar. Ahar, it is food. Every sense has its food. What is food for the eyes? Beautiful sights. What is food for the ears? Nice sound. Food for the nose? Nice smell. Food for the tongue? Nice taste. So every sense has its taste, has its food. So this practicing devotee, what he does, he refrains from sense objects. Nirahar, वो निराहार रहता है. And what he does, he tries to give some higher engagement. We have to put something in our sense. We can't keep fasting, right? We fasting आ रही है अभी 25 तारीख को, निर्जल एकादशी. वो सुन के डर लगता है, निर्जल है, 4-5 दिन पहले से एक्स्ट्रा पानी पीना शुरू करो, निर्जल करना है. So we can't keep fasting. We have to put something in our senses. So we have to avoid the negative things and fill our senses with the positive things. That is the ahar. And the more we do it, param drishtva nivartate, we will develop a higher taste. Param drishtva, we will develop a higher taste. You know, Govinda's restaurant का सब उधर एक टैगलाइन है, higher taste. उसमें तो higher taste है ही. The more we serve the Lord, the more we chant the names of the Lord regularly, gradually we will develop that taste, so that we will not be affected by the pleasures of this world, things of this world. It may take a long time, but we have to keep on doing it regularly, attentively, without getting deviated or distracted. Because the pleasure of this world, it has two qualities. It has quality of bhog and tyag, and the second quality is chapal sukh. चप्पल सुख नहीं, चप्पल पड़ती है. It is chapal. It is flickering pleasure. It is very limited. And bhog and tyag. If somebody, for example, if somebody likes gulab jamun, so पहला वाला गुलाब जामुन खाएंगे तो कैसा लगता है? Nectar. Second, it is good. Third, अच्छा लग रहा है, अभी भी अच्छा है. Fourth one, आप ना बोल रहे हैं, ये लोग तो हाँ बोलेंगे. Fourth one, चलेगा? अरे नहीं, ऐसा मत करो, आप तो यंग हो गए. Fourth में ही ना बोल रही है. Fifth one, 10th one, बोल देखना भी नहीं अभी. भोग and त्याग, that is the pleasure of this world. शुरू में it is very nice. The more we do it, it becomes disgusting. And second is chapala. It is very flickering. It doesn't stay for long. One becomes completely satiated. कि भाई अभी देखना ही नहीं है इसको. That is the pleasure of this world. And it is so limited. People think advertisement में तो इतना दिखाया था और एक्चुअल में तो कुछ मजा ही नहीं आया. क्या है? That bewilders people. कि एडवर्टाइजमेंट तो इतना था, actual reality was something completely different. And people, they advertise a lot. When you see advertisement, it seems that wow, ये मिल जाएगा ना, life will be amazing. And you bring it, and then you become disgusted by it. Any of you have this experience? Ad देखा तो लगा this is the best gadget or best thing. ये लाएंगे तो life simple हो जाएगा. And you got that, and the experience was frustrating. हुआ है किसी के साथ ऐसा कभी? बहुत लोगों के साथ हुआ है. That's about everything of this world. Krishna speaks in 5th chapter Bhagavad Gita, 22nd verse. ये ही संस्पर्श जा होगा दुख योनय एवते. Any amount of pleasure of this world, any pleasure, anything you enjoy, in due course of time, the suffering will come for sure. आज नहीं तो 10 दिन के बाद या फिर 10 साल के बाद आएगा. It will come for sure. So that's how the more we study Bhagavad Gita, the more we practice chanting the names of the Lord, associating with devotees, the more we realize that whatever the world promises, actual reality is really different. We have to connect to the higher reality. We have to connect to the actual pleasures of this world. Therefore, Prabhupada writes, unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. You have to catch out of something, right? You can't say आज fasting, आज से पूरा fasting. तो 10 ends हो जाएगा फिर. Fasting कितना करेंगे? You have to eat something. We have to put something. Try to put positive things in your mind. Try to see positive things. See the form of the Lord. Take prasad. Hear the wonderful kirtan. That is very essential. Discipline is very essential. If you are not disciplined, it is very difficult to advance. Prabhupada writes, the process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. When you go to a doctor and doctor says you have this disease, you have to avoid this and you have to take this medicine. We have to follow this. बोलेंगे नहीं नहीं डॉक्टर साहब, if somebody is overweight and he goes to a doctor, डॉक्टर साहब क्या खाने से वजन कम होगा? तब क्या खाने से कम होगा वजन, ऐसा है उसका क्वेश्चन। तो खाना छोड़ना नहीं है, क्या खाने से कम वजन होगा। ऐसी चीजों से दूर रहना चाहिए जो हमको मोटा बनाती हैं। हमारा मिरर, हमारे फ्रेंड्स, हमारे पुराने कपड़े फिट नहीं होते हैं तो लगता है अभी मोटे हो गए। So we have to understand, if we are not controlling our eating, what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, spirituality is far. Spirituality begins by controlling the senses. We can't put our feet in two boats. ये भी करेंगे, ये भी करेंगे। Restrictions are must. Discipline is must anywhere, right? Not just in spirituality. Any field, if you want to achieve something, we have to be disciplined. If we are not disciplined, we can't achieve anything. What to speak of trying to achieve the highest? Spiritual life is the highest achievement. Sudushkaram karam kritva lokapalairapi prabho ashyatya chirato rajan yasho vipulavam stava. Narad Muni tells to Tanpan, he says, O king, your son Dhruva has achieved the most wonderful thing. He has done the most difficult task. What he has done? He has pleased the Lord. तो भगवान को प्रसन्न करना is not so easy. So the process which we are practicing, it is the wonderful process. Only thing we need to do is do it regularly. And avoid the negative things. There was a person in South India, Srirangam, many years back, many 100 years back. His name was Dhanur Das. And in Srirangam, there was a great Acharya of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. His name was Ramanujacharya. Some of us must have heard his name. Ramanujacharya. And every day in the evening in Srirangam, they do a procession, palaki, for the Lord. So one day in the evening time, the Lord is on a procession and all the devotees are singing and dancing in front of the Lord. There was one person, his name was Dhanur Das. He was not singing and dancing, although he was in the kirtan. He was looking at the face of a beautiful lady and he had put an umbrella over her because it was sun. It was very hot. And everybody is thinking, what is he doing? Bhagwan ke samne kya kar raha hai? How is he so shameless? So Ramanujacharya, he saw and he told one of his disciples, bring that person. So this person came. And Ramanujacharya asked, what are you doing? Do you know you are in a procession of the Lord? He said, yes, I know, but what can I do? I have never seen anything more beautiful than the eyes of this lady. And I am the connoisseur of beauty. I like to see good things, beautiful things. And her eyes are really beautiful. So I am looking at the eyes. What's the problem? So Ramanujacharya felt compassion. He said, if I show you something more beautiful than the eyes of this lady, will you give up all this? He said, of course. But I don't think any more beautiful thing exists. So Ramanujacharya said, please come tomorrow morning 4 o'clock in Srirangam temple. I'll show you something. So he was really, attracted to seeing nice things, beautiful things. He came early morning. And Ramanujacharya took him to the inner chamber of the Lord, Garbhagraha. And by his mercy, Ramanujacharya allowed this Dhanur Das to see the beautiful eyes of the Lord. And the Lord's eyes are most beautiful thing in the entire creation. As he saw the eyes of the Lord, he started crying tears. he started developing all the wonderful devotional symptoms. And from that day on, he became devotee of Ranganath. He gave up all the bad association. So that's what we have to do. We have to learn to see the beauty of the Lord. And for that, we need mercy of the devotees. So that is what is very, very important. Bhakti Yoga means using our senses for higher type of enjoyment. That is called as param drishtva. It is not austerity. You know what is the difference between austerity and higher taste? Tapasya and having a higher taste. Austerity means when you say no to sense gratification grudgingly. प्रभु जी ने इतना बोला है तो ठीक है, अभी नहीं देखेंगे, अभी क्या है, अभी छोड़ देते हैं, अभी जाने दो. ग्रजिंगली, इच्छा तो है अंदर से, बट सुना है इतना कि अभी जाने दो, अभी छोड़ो, क्या करेंगे. भगवद गीता क्लास जाते हैं ना, हाथ में माला भी ले लिए. Higher taste means when you say no to sense gratification happily. अब इच्छा ही नहीं होती है. That is the shift from saying no grudgingly to saying no happily. That is called as param drishtva. And that will happen not so quickly. It takes long time. Sometimes years, depending on our intensity of practice. But the form of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord, they are all very attractive. What we have to do is just keep doing it regularly. Even if we have no taste, still do it. Even if it tastes kadwa. Even if it is like karela juice, still we have to drink it. Any of you have suffered jaundice anytime? Jaundice हुआ है कुछ लोगों को. In jaundice, even sugarcane juice tastes bitter. Anything you eat tastes bitter, right? But according to Ayurveda, what is the solution and treatment for jaundice? Sugarcane juice. पीते रहो. Even if it tastes bitter, still drink it. स्यात् कृष्ण नाम चरितापि सिताप्य विद्या पित्तोपतप्तरसनस्य नरोचिकानो किन्त्वाधरादनुदिनं खलु शैव जुष्टा स्वाद्विक्रमाद भवति तद्गदमूलहन्त्री. Krishna's name, form, pastimes, they are sweet like nectar. But our problem is, we have a jaundice. We have jaundice of ignorance, avidya. So it tastes bitter. मजा नहीं आता है. लगता है कब खत्म होगा. प्रभु जी जनरली तो 8:30 बजे खत्म कर देते हैं. 8:35 हो गए. प्रभु जी भूल तो नहीं गए. अंदर चलना चालू होता है नहीं अंदर से ऐसा. कब तक बोलेंगे पता नहीं. प्रभु जी तो टाइम भी नहीं देख रहे हैं. मेरे को तो बहुत सारा लाइंड अप है आगे. इनको क्या है, ये तो बोल के चले जाएंगे. So even if it tastes bitter, still keep on drinking it. धीरे धीरे होता है. स्वाद्वी क्रमाद भवति. Gradually over a period of time we develop a taste for it. It will not happen overnight. It may not happen in a year or so. It may take years. अभी तो chanting is very troublesome. Tapasya. Our only ecstasy in chanting is our last वाला counter नीचे जाता है ना. खत्म हो गया भाई. आज की माला खत्म. अभी फीडबैक को ऐसी जगह रखो कि दिखना नहीं चाहिए. दिखता है तो टेंशन आता है कि और करना पड़ेगा. Even if we have no taste, still do it. Keep on doing it. Try your best. Slowly this higher taste will come. Because that's the happiness, that's the pleasure of mode of goodness. In the beginning it is painful, it is pleasurable in the end. यत्तद् अग्रे विषम परिणामे अमृतम. शुरू में विष है, end में it is nectar. The mode of passion pleasure is शुरू में तो नेक्टर, but in the end it is poison. Just like somebody likes a very hot spicy food, तीखा तीखा वाला, if you like spicy food here, मजा आता है एकदम तीखा वाला खाने में, मुझे कोई बोलेगा भी नहीं, मालूम है आगे क्या होने वाला है. So रात में अगर ऐसा तीखा वाला खाया, मिर्ची के साथ, आंख से आंसू आ रहा है, फिर भी ऐसा ऐसा करके खा रहे हैं, मजा आ रहा है ना खाने में, तो मजा आता है. नेक्स्ट मॉर्निंग यही संस्पर्शजा होगा, दुख यो नय होते, तो लगता है क्यों खाया, नहीं खाना चाहिए था. एंड इफ यू हैव एनी टाइम एक्सपीरियंस दिस कि नहीं खाना चाहिए था यार, गड़बड़ हो गया, कई बार होता है. दैट्स द प्लेजर विच इज पैशन. शुरू में तो मजा, बाद में सजा. So we have to try to connect to the Lord by chanting regularly. Even if it tastes bitter, please keep doing it. Because unless we do it, we will not develop that taste. One person goes to one of our senior devotees and says, महाराज जप करने में मन नहीं लगता है. तो महाराज बोले, नहीं करने से लगेगा क्या? तो जप करने में मन नहीं लगता है तो क्या करना है? Keep on chanting regularly. So I hope everybody is chanting. Those who are not chanting, please start chanting. Then only will come to this stage. Param drishtva nivartate. Unless we experience it, we will not go ahead. You have to experience this. Otherwise, it will just remain theory. Even if I describe how Rasgulla is. Rasgulla is a white ball. Tastes very sweet. रस अंदर से निकलता है. And you take a bite and your mouth is full of juice. कितना भी मैं description दूं, unless you taste it, you will not understand. So however we hear about chanting is wonderful. It purifies the heart. It gives taste. Unless we do it, we will not experience it. Okay, so we'll stop here. Anybody has any questions? Okay, so it seems there are no questions. आपको क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछते हैं कोई? सब समझ जाते हैं. प्रभु जी क्वेश्चन पूछ